in un rione dove il lusso era tabù. Io sono nata ed il mio cuore guarda a sud. Mio padre, il ricordo di un bravo uomo, mani pulite e un cuore buono. E vissi tutta la mia infanzia in povertà. Scopri che se la vita toglie, a volte dà, persi a un tavolo da gioco ogni virtù. Per questo oggi con il cuore vado a sud. Il mio quartiere a odor di gelsomino e l'ombra di mia madre nel giardino. Una festa dolce, cose semplici, normali, e la pace lungo i viali, col viso al sole. La gente mia memoria è senza età, ma nulla di quel mondo tornerà. Dal giorno in cui io son partita, ho 1000 croci o forse più, ma so che vivo. Il mio cuore guarda su. Del mio rione porto in me la geografia. Per questo forse non sono mai andata via. Il bar all'angolo, il nido, l'osteria. La riconosco. La sento mia. Adesso so che la distanza ormai non vale. E mi ritrovo in questo punto cardinale. Ritorno alla mia infanzia e ai déjà vu, ma tengo sempre il cuore mio rivolto a sud. Il mio quartiere a odor di gelsomino e l'ombra di mia madre nel giardino. Una dolce festa, cose semplici e normali, e la pace lungo i viali, col viso al sole. La gente mia memoria è senza età, ma nulla di quel mondo tornerà. Dal giorno in cui io son partita, ho 1000 croci o forse più, ma so che vivo ed il mio cuore guarda su.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Cathy.
Ladies and gentlemen, my friend and sometimes cohort in crime, Lorena Fontana.
I like the second part as well. Friend and court in crime. Yes. Hi, everybody. Ciao, Cathy. Thank you very much for hosting me.
Oh, I'm so happy. I'm so happy we could do this. Yeah. That was really beautiful. That was, now correct me if I'm wrong, and it's a good chance that I am. Is that a classical song that you kind of added really more of a jazz flavor to, or what is that?
Well, first of all, this original tango song by Eladia Blasquez, didn't have Italian lyrics, so I added
Oh,
lyrics. I
yeah,
basically translated them, but you know, when you pass from one language to another, you always have to adapt them, you know,
yeah,
and try to respect the poetry, because the lyrics are really very, very deep and very poetic. It's about nostalgia. It's about a woman who leaves her country, and she has the memories, and she always wants to go back. So yes, that was a song by
beautiful.
Eladia Blasquez,
So
one of the
that,
one of the few women of tango, actually.
oh,
Not
wow.
many composers, you know, because normally they associate tango with, you know, men being strong and
And macho.
macho. Yes.
Oh, that's interesting. You know, I've listened to tango, but mostly to Piazzolla, and which I've totally loved. I mean, boy, listening to Astor Piazzolla is really a wonderful thing. But it's really beautiful music, and it lends itself so well to jazz, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. It does. And to me, I think it has got a flavor, the same flavor of blues, you know, the same kind of origins. I mean, it's a popular art form. And I guess I probably felt freer because, you know, there are many classical musicians who interpret Piazzolla or, you know, tango music, and they do it in a very respectful way, very respectful of the written paper.
Yeah,
Art form.
right.
I try to, you know, put a little bit of the freedom in the phrasing, basically.
Yes, yes,
This is what I try to do.
yes.
I mean, I didn't change that many, you know, I didn't
Notes.
change that many notes. That would have been,
Yeah.
I think, too much, a little bit too much. No scazzi.
Yeah, I can understand that. I've done that as well with various songs. A beautiful classical piece that I did. Why change the notes? You know, it's not necessary. The phrasing actually is really, and of course Brazilians do that all the time. They don't change many notes usually. They change their phrasing. So yeah, and I think I like that this is happening more and more in jazz, you know, that jazz is bringing in classical and tango and other kinds of music and you know, blending it. I think it's really nice. And it's been going on a long time, of course. I don't know about there, but like did you use a cello? Is that?
Yes, a cello and a piano.
Yeah.
And cello, and then in a couple of songs, there's a string quartet.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, that's been happening in LA, I'd say for the last, it's hard to tell with the pandemic, but I guess for the last 10 or 15 years, something like that. You see it more and more, and the classical, especially string players, have been getting more and more involved. In fact, Billy Childs, he uses the most beautiful string quartet. I forget their names, starts with an L, and they are a really exquisite string quartet. It's really beautiful. So yeah. Yes or no, Gary?
Oh, they took them.
Oh, good. Okay.
Oh,
All
hi,
right.
Gary. Hi, Gary.
Lorena says hello from Italy.
Lorena from Italy.
Yes. Oh, Gary's going to appear on my show.
He doesn't remember me, but now if you see
Remember her?
my face, do you remember me?
Oh, yes, I do.
Oh, hi, Gary. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm getting ready to go do some work.
Oh, okay.
All right. For his daughter, you know, that kind of work.
Okay.
My niece will take the 2 trees in front, possibly.
Oh, okay.
And she said she would have taken the blue ones if they didn't.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry. You know, sometimes it's, you know, I just have to turn on my fan because I suddenly got very hot. Maybe because
Okay.
Gary stepped in, you know.
Okay. I envy you. Here it's very cold and rainy and
Really?
Yeah, very wintry weather.
Well, believe it or not, LA just got kind of cold. Not as cold as where you are, I'm sure, but you know, you definitely need a coat when you go outside. It's,
Oh,
you know,
okay.
so-
Okay.
well, some people do anyway. I have a few friends on here, and one is a singer who's a student of mine, and a very good singer, Nora Paradiso, and she's loving how you sound. Great diction, words, passion. She loves that. Angela O'Neill.
Thank you, Nora. Thank you, Nora.
Do you know Angela O'Neill?
Angela O'Neill, the lady with a wonderful big band. She
Yeah.
has a swinging big band. I believe.
She does.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, Priscilla Priscilla, I don't even know. I never say your last name. Vadahuli. It's probably that. Anyway, sorry, Priscilla. She's a friend of mine, but Lorena's performed in LA, right? You've performed here, right?
Yes, at your event, at your venue once.
Okay.
But
Okay.
that was quite a long time ago.
Yeah, it was a long
I
time.
performed twice. Sorry, I performed twice. Yes, the Gardenia with Doria Amarillo.
Oh,
Wonderful. Yes.
okay. Okay, that's
True,
great.
Sorry.
That's all right. No
That
problem.
was before the pandemic. That's why
I know. It's really hard to remember.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
we will keep on saying this in time to come.
Yeah.
Before the pandemic, after the pandemic. So that's like,
yeah, people have accepted that you just forget 2 years and then just think without the 2 years, right?
Yeah.
So I've been to Italy and hung out with Lorena, and it's beautiful there. And I had a great band to play with, well, several great bands, I think, and a great workshop that I fondly remember. And just hanging with Lorena was really great. Her daughter lives in LA and she's a musician. So Lorena has reasons to come here other than just to visit me.
Lots of
but you were born in Modena, which is in the northern part of Italy.
the town of Pavarotti.
I'm sorry, what?
It's the hometown of Pavarotti.
Okay. And then you started singing. You were playing. I know you were playing guitar first, but you started singing. Well, were you drawn to singing, or when you were younger, or did it just develop into an interest?
I started out when I was 15, and I was strumming my guitar and going through some changes, and then I found that I was naturally drawn to singing, basically. And then I got tired of playing guitar because my fingers hurt me. I was like, and I started devoting. I was very curious. I wanted to study opera. I went on studying opera, but before I went to London, to study in a school there, where I met some great jazz musicians like Norma, Winstone, John Taylor, and
hold on. So, I'm going to interrupt you. Would you mind turning your volume down a little bit on your mic?
Yeah, sure.
And so you met, now of all people to meet too, because it's not, I think the normal thing is to meet more bebop type of players, but no, you met the outstanding modern jazz players. You met Norma, and you said
Kenny Wheeler.
Kenny Wheeler, and who else?
John Taylor.
I mean, these people, for those of you who don't know out there, hi, Karen Cruz, Celeste Cruz. She says hello to you.
Hi to Karen.
Yeah. So, where was I?
Yeah, that I was, introduced to Kenny Wheeler's music. So it was, contemporary sound.
Yeah, Kenny
It changed my
Wheeler.
life.
Yeah,
It changed my life. It did. Oh,
yeah. And Norma, oh my God, Norma, is it's
the
she's such
way she uses her voice is like she inspired me to use my voice as an instrument also, but also the way a painter would probably, use his brush or her brush to
yeah,
paint. Yeah,
yes.
so using the voice to color the lyrics, but even in a very intimate, with a very intimate sound, and with a very, I don't know how to say that in English, soffiato, with a breathy tone, with a breathy
Ah,
tone.
yes, yes,
Yes,
yes. She has a very breathy tone and an incredible range too.
yeah, she does.
Yeah.
Yeah, yes,
Yeah. And her work is more subtle, you know?
exactly.
Yeah. Oh, Luna put something up too. Thanks, Luna. Luna is her daughter, and she put up a YouTube, Come Nessuna.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so you went to London specifically to study what did you go to London for exactly?
Well, I applied at the Guildhall School of Music and
Oh,
Drama. I knew that I met a great friend of mine, a wonderful singer, actually, Cleveland Watkins, who used to sing with Courtney Pine, and now is, one of the best male British voices. And so I met him, and he told me that they had a very good jazz course. So I applied, and I got in. And so I moved from Italy, I moved to London, you know,
and you were there for how long?
couple of years.
Yeah, that must have been really interesting. I have another friend who lived in London, involved in music, but she was involved in a much more pop scene. But it would be really interesting to be there for a few years in the jazz scene, I think.
Yeah, I don't know how it would be now, because back then, there were a lot of inspirations from, from the 70s and the 80s, because when I was there, it was 1987. So, and it was a very special moment, lots of opportunities for students,
Yeah, yeah,
to go to the London School of Samba, to go to the there was an African art center where I could learn to play the congas a little bit. Okay, so it was wonderful opportunities back then. But then, when the political scene changed, I know that the politics were not financing those cultural centers anymore, so they got closed basically.
Interestingly enough, my friend who I was just telling you about, she's in my group Fish to Birds, and she hung out there because she's super into African music. Yeah, her name is Ashley Marr. I'll have to hook you up because it'd just be interesting, I'm sure, for you both.
Very interesting. I'm very interested. Yes.
So after London, you returned to Italy?
Yes, I returned to Italy because I wanted to, because everybody kept on telling me about opera. And I was very ignorant. I didn't know anything about opera. I only knew they had big voices, but I didn't know about, the repertoire. And so I decided it was about time to go back and get into the roots of, Italian opera, basically. I did that for 4 years, 5 years. Yeah.
Cool. 5 years. Okay. So, and that's a big chunk of time too.
Yeah.
Maybe a drop in the bucket for opera though, but still, it is a lot of time, but I know it takes a while to really get into the classical voice. So
Yeah. It was very hard to tell my, what vocal cords to get together because they were so used to being apart because I was searching this breathy sound that I liked so much and that works so well with a microphone. But of course, it doesn't work acoustically, so I was telling my girls, my vocal cords, come on, get together.
I totally get that. So let's see. So then I'm kind of peeking at my notes too. But you, so it says you studied arranging and piano with Bruno Tommaso, and then Lee Konitz invited you to New York.
Yeah.
Now, how did you meet Lee Konitz?
I met Lee Konitz thanks due to the fact that I, speak English quite fluently, and they were organizing a workshop in Bologna with Lee. He was doing a master class, and they were looking for an assistant, an interpreter.
Oh.
So I went along, and little by little, I gave him a little tape where I sang, and he said, "Hey, come to New York."
That's
took a while
cool.
to organize it, but I did. Yeah, it was
Very
a great
cool. Yeah.
experience.
Yeah. So, and then did you study with Judy Niemak and Sheila Jordan, or just kind of through Lee and through Judy?
No, I went there to study with Lee, and then I met Sheila Jordan. Of course, I met Judy. But Judy, when I went there, she was already moving. She was going to, because I think she had been offered, a job in Berlin.
Yes.
At the Berlin Institute, at the Jazz Institute. So she was moving to Europe. So I basically met her maybe 2 days. That's it.
Oh.
So I went in and studied, did a couple of lessons with Sheila Jordan. Met Theo Blackman. Theo Blackman was a student of Sheila.
Yeah.
And I know that he's doing very well now.
He is. He's really doing well. Yeah.
Yeah, doing really well.
Yeah. I am too. I like him. He's a really nice person, and he's got a very interesting style, very eclectic, right?
Yes. Yeah,
he's extremely competent,
Yes.
Yeah. I have to jump to one funny thing in your bio. I don't know if we ever talked about this. You were a backing vocalist for Rita Pavone.
Yeah.
I don't think I don't know that maybe, or I don't think I ever told you this, but when I was a kid, my dad, who was also a musician and other things, he owned an Italian theater in Boston.
Really?
And guess who came and performed?
Oh,
Rita Pavone. I don't know how old she was. She must have been very young.
Oh, very young, probably. Yeah.
Yeah, because I was, maybe I'm 68. What is she, at the most 70 or 71 now?
Yes, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I always remembered her and her name because she was really good, and it was very unusual for me to see, an Italian singer and,
I don't know that anybody else was in Italy was invited to the Ed Sullivan show. And she told me when we were touring that Ella Fitzgerald went to ask for an autograph.
Oh.
And she was, so funny.
She was very cute, as I remember, and really a good singer.
Yeah. And full of energy.
Yeah. So
it was a great experience. I will tell Rita, we keep on, being in touch on and off sometimes. And she'll be happy to know that your father owned this theater in Boston. Do you remember the name of it?
I don't remember the name of the theater, but she probably didn't go there that much, I'm guessing. Especially when she was she was probably like 15 years old or something, and it was in East, excuse me, in East Boston, an old theater. And
Yeah. Okay.
that's so funny. Yeah, tell her I was her fan.
I will.
Yeah, I was so excited. So over your career, there's a lot of different things that you've done, and they're very varied. You were, backing singer for rock and roll. You worked in contemporary classical and new age music. You sang in movies.
I did some gospel as well.
Gospel and this sounds interesting. The Mirrors Project. Tell us about that.
With Kenny Wheeler. Mirrors, yes, music by Kenny Wheeler. And
what was that? That was lyrics drawn from Lewis Carroll's novels.
Lewis Carroll, yes, Alice in Wonderland, and Kenny wrote music to it. And then we performed. We did a little tour in Tuscany with 2 male singers, 5 voices, 2 male singers and 3 female. And the 2 male singers were, from Britain. They were Ian Shaw, who was doing very well. Ian?
Yeah.
And singer. Cleveland Watkins, and plus there was me. There was Tiziana Simona, who was the founder of the project, was the one who put a little seed, and she was responsible for the whole thing. And then Lucia Cappelli, and then there was John Taylor on piano. There was Marco Micheli on double bass, and Fulvio Maras on percussion. We did, I think, 5 or 6 concerts, touring little theater.
Sounds great. That sounds great.
It was wonderful. It was a wonderful experience. The only point is that I found out that I am allergic because, Tuscany is south of Emilia-Romagna, where I live. So basically it was end of March or beginning of April. And in Emilia-Romagna, the spring hadn't started yet. The blooming of the flowers hadn't started yet, but in Tuscany it was, whoa, everything was in bloom. And so, I'm allergic to pollen. So after the first gig, my eyes were swelling and I had to wear dark glasses because I couldn't stand the light. And I remember Kenny said, when he introduced me, he said, "Oh, Lorena is wearing glasses, not because she's trying to look like Stevie Wonder, but it's because she had she's sick, so she's wearing glasses."
Oh boy. So, and then you founded an Italian-Danish all-female group.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, for 2 weeks. The point was that it was quite difficult back then because Italy didn't have, probably there were 2 drummers. One of them, I remember, she got a problem, tendinitis.
Yes.
She had a problem with her tendons, so she had to quit playing drums for a while. And there were no bass player, no double bass player. I wanted to have a double bass player. So I had to import them from Denmark.
Oh.
And we're still in touch. Benita Astrup on drums and Helle Marstrand on a double bass. Very good musicians. Very good.
What kind of music did you perform?
We did some Ornette Coleman tunes. Mostly it was contemporary. A couple of blues numbers, but mostly it was contemporary. Some a tune by Lee Konitz, a couple of tunes by Franco D'Andrea with
this is with the girl group?
Yeah.
And so did you arrange it for 4 voices basically? Was that it for female voices?
No, but there were there were not voices. I was the only voice.
Oh, I
voice,
see.
Saxophone, alto saxophone, Cristina
Oh, I
on
see.
alto saxophone. who is very much into avant-garde and contemporary.
Oh.
She used to be back then a big fan of Ornette Coleman and Reggie Workman or Steve Lacy as well. She wanted me to sing a song by Steve Lacy called Moon, and then I didn't have much time, and I saw that the shortest interval was a ninth, so I said, okay, that's next time. Okay, thank you.
Very smart girl. Very smart girl. Well, I'm going to play another song. Let's play Como Nessuna. Yeah?
Okay, yeah. That's the Italian version of Malena, very famous tango song.
Say that again. It's a what?
It's a famous tango song, and it's a composition by Lucio De Mare.
I see. Okay. All righty.
Malena canta il tango come nessuna, in ogni verso infonde pura emozione, la voce dal sobborgo sale e profuma. Malena ha il dolore del bandoneon, così già dalla infanzia, da quella strenna assunse il tono scuro della passione, o fu per quell'amore cui solo accenna quando nell'alcol trova consolazione. Malena canta il tango con voce sghemba, Malena ha il dolore del bandoneon. Nel tuo canto c'è il gelo dell'ultimo incontro, il tuo canto così amaro a dispetto del tempo. Non so più se tu hai voce di fiore o di pena, ma io so che cantando il tuo tango, Malena, diventi più buona di me. Quegli occhi tuoi oscuri, come l'oblio, le labbra tue serrate, come il rancore, le mani son colombe, ma senza un Dio, nelle tue vene il sangue del bandoneon. Il tango è una creatura abbandonata che scruta dietro il fango di ogni mattone, quando l'ultima porta vien sigillata e ladrano i fantasmi della canzone. Malena canta il tango, voce strappata, Malena ha il dolore del bandoneon.
Oh, I love that. Wow.
I'm seeing there's a little bit probably with the change with the internet. There's a little bit of sync lacking. The sync is not perfect. Probably
here it's great. So maybe yeah.
Oh, that's the way I received it probably then.
Yeah.
Okay, let me introduce the musicians. There's Enrico Guerzoni on cello, and there's Fabrizio Mocata on piano, who is a specialist of tango. He's a tango specialist.
Beautiful. Yeah, Nora's like dying over the cello player. And yeah, she speaks Spanish and Italian, and so she's loving that she understands the whole thing. Well, by the way, are you planning to come here anytime in the near future? There were questions.
I hope next year.
Okay, we'll work something out, but let me know ahead of time, and we'll do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks. Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
So what, let's see, what are you
May I
doing?
show you something? May I show you something?
Absolutely.
The first time that I was doing some exams at the Conservatory in Milano, and look what they gave me.
Wow.
This is a microphone sanitizer.
Interesting.
And it's made in LA. You have this thing, you put the microphone inside, and then you close it. And once it's closed, you press this button here, and there's a little green light, you see. Once it's off, then the microphone is sanitized, completely sterile.
And how does it do it?
I think with UVC or UVB, some kind of UV. I'm not sure whether it's B or C, but it works.
How do you know it works?
Sorry?
I'm curious. How do you know it works?
It was. How do I know? Because I didn't get infected so far.
I'm going to look into that. That's really interesting, especially nowadays, right?
It's called Bullet.
Okay.
Bullet.
Yeah. That's really great. I love that. Hi, Dina DeRose.
Oh, Dina! Dina! Ciao, Dina!
I love Dina DeRose.
I love her.
She's such a good human and a great
wonderful musician, great piano player.
Yeah. So I was going to ask you, actually, I was going to jump ahead a few years and say, what are you doing right now?
What am I doing right now?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I've just issued the CD, and now I am trying to make up my mind what's coming next. Actually, I think I would like to.
Let's talk about your CD first.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
This is a new CD, right?
Yeah, it's this one. I don't know if you can see properly. Oh, okay.
It's a very nice cover. It's beautiful.
It's Tango Perida.
Oh.
That's her name.
So it's all the tango music, yeah?
On a couple of Brazilian invasions, but mostly it's tango. Mostly it's tango, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so basically, it just came out at the beginning of September. So Saturday I have a debut in a theater in.
Oh, congratulations!
Oh, thanks. And then we'll see what comes along. My next project, I would like to do something more contemporary and I would like to use the voice more like an instrument. To
so more contemporary jazz.
Yeah.
So do you have kind of an image of what that is, and have you planned it with the musicians? And
I'm starting to write a couple of songs. I would like to do a CD of my own compositions. I would like very much to do that. Every time I do the CDs, I try to put 2 or 3 original compositions, but I never did a whole CD of compositions of my own.
Yeah, I do that too. Everyone, I'll put 1 or 2 at least, and some I have a few more, but yeah, it's I like to put it out. I mean, it's your compositions, right? I mean, why not? and it's great. It's a great addition to the whole overall project, right?
Yeah, but it's also, it has to do with the fact that with this CD, I've been doing, you could say, traditional singing. I've been singing traditional singing. I've just been dealing with lyrics and the traditional way a voice is used. Now I would like to, work more on the instrumental side, use the voice as an instrument, or using effects, or, yeah. And another side that I was exploring a long time ago. Oh, maybe I didn't send you this link. I'll see if I can try and find it. A long time ago, I won a competition in Italy on national television with a song just in 7/8. Just it was created with the word hit hot, and it was just hit hot 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 hit hot hot hot. It was just like that, and
Yes.
it went on in a loop, just before the loop station was spread around. And then there were 16 Lorenas, one after the other.
Oh, really?
It was like a huge sandwich of Lorenas. And then I had to quit that path. I wasn't following that path because life took me in another direction. So I think, in my little drawer, down in my drawer, there's still that kind of the way of using my voice, which hasn't been exploited yet and hasn't been used yet. So I would like to, work on that.
Yeah.
Even though I think the audience, maybe are more keen to a more traditional type of singing.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Excuse me. The beautiful Luna has posted where to buy your project.
Oh, okay.
Thank you, Luna.
Thank you, Luna.
Luna is Lorena's daughter. She lives in LA, and she's doing well, you tell what she's doing, because you know more than I.
Well, she's doing music. She came from Italy to LA when she knew that she didn't want to be a singer and she didn't want to be a musician. And then she was surrounded, she went to live in a house where she was surrounded by musicians. So it was like music invaded her. And then little by little, she started, playing guitar and then playing piano. Well, mind you, she had studied piano for 10 years when she was here in Italy. And then she did Associate of Arts at the LA City College. And, she started writing her own music. And I could call what she does progressive.
Yeah.
Kind of progressive. So the first composition that I still remember was a song, a tune in 13/8.
In what?
13/8. That was 12/8 plus 1/8. So,
Okay.
odd meters. She's very, very fascinated by odd meters.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I haven't heard her in a long time. I'm gonna have to go check her out. So I wanted to ask you something. Oh, so we were talking about your CD, and then you were moving on, and I interrupted you to talk about your CD. So tell what else are you doing? Or were you thinking ahead of your next CD when I interrupted you?
Yeah. I was thinking about my CD, but because my next CD, but maybe I should spend some time explaining why I decided to do a CD in Italian, totally in Italian, because I mean, I I had the privilege to meet tango in the mid 90s, but I had to learn, singing in Spanish, and the language of Buenos Aires is lunfardo, which is a kind of dialect, a mixture of Spanish plus some Italian. Actually, I think Genovese. There are some words that are originally from Genova,
Yes.
from the immigrants.
Uh-huh.
And of course, it was very interesting for me to study that. But whenever I performed, there was always a language barrier with the audience in Italy, because of course they couldn't, some of the words can be understood, but mostly you don't get the subtleties of poetry.
Yes.
And that's what I decided to do. Little by little, I started by doing Alfonsina e il mare, which is Alfonsina y el mar, which is a wonderful composition by two musicians, Argentinian musicians like Ariel Ramirez and Felix Luna.
Yeah.
Dedicated this song to the Italian poet Alfonsina Storni. She was an immigrant, and she went to live in Argentina, and I know it's not nice to hear, but she was very troubled, a very troubled woman, and she committed suicide.
Oh.
And that's why they wrote this song. Plus, there are other songs that are really funny. One is a satirical song that's called La Fiera delle Pulci, that describes society and the lack of ethical.
The lack of ethics. Is that what you said?
Yes, yeah. in society.
Yeah.
And it was called cambalache, which in Argentinian, I think it's called garbage. It could be compared to the word garbage.
Really?
And then another song by a wonderful Argentinian actress called Tita Merello, who wrote this song about an ugly woman, a woman who likes her ugliness, and she says, well, if I'm so ugly, why does everybody ask about me and they want to know where I'm going, where I'm coming? And I'm pretty sure that Nora knows this song because it's so funny. It's great. It's great. Si de me, that's the original title, and in Italian it's Si dice di me. They tell about
it. Sounds great, actually.
Yeah, it was funny. It was fun. It was fun, but it was hard, very hard to respect the contents and to make them rhyme.
Yes.
But yeah, wow, I'm happy.
Are you also teaching these days?
Yes, I'm teaching. I'm leaving Milan. I've been teaching in Milan Conservatory, Giuseppe Verdi, since February, and now I'm going to Cesena, where I'm going to be teaching jazz singing there. And I think if Dana is on, she has been doing a workshop there some years ago. Yes. Yeah. And I'll be signing my new contract tomorrow morning. Plus,
very nice.
Yeah.
Are you
Yeah,
going to,
it's
are you showing us your contract? No, I'm kidding.
no, no,
I'm
no.
kidding.
I don't have it. I don't have it.
I'm kidding. Yeah, but that's good. Yeah. Oh, by the way, Michela Lombardi says
Oh,
hello.
Michela.
Michela.
Ciao, Michela. Hi, Michela.
Also, my friend Roland is wondering if you were familiar with Ben and Winnie, who's a piano and bandoneon duo on the internet.
Ben and Winnie.
Yeah, I'll copy this and put it into chat for you, the link.
Okay. I'm going to check them out.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. And yeah, so well, that's great. So that is the time that you spend in teaching for the schools. Is that a lot of time during the week for you?
Oh, it is, there's an amount of time that we have to do some preparation, but the real time is 2 days a week, basically.
Okay.
It's like university, it's a conservatory.
Yeah, yeah. The only thing I really don't enjoy about conservatories and universities that I'm really not very good at is the administration part of it. I am not good about that, and it's kind of weird because
What do you mean by administration? What do you mean?
like sending in all the reports, and not from my own reports to me are fine, but for the organization,
I think it does depend a lot on the conservatory. I must say that, some conservatories I worked with previously had much more bureaucratical work for the teachers. In Milan, it was wonderful. Really, very, very efficient, very, very efficient. And I was, I was sad to leave Milan because it's the biggest conservatory in Italy.
Oh.
And oh, by the way, this bullet, I got it in Milan.
Oh, huh. Okay. You got it in Milan, and it's made in LA by Italians.
Yeah, by Italians.
Okay.
And yeah, so, but the thing is that I was teaching pop singing. And
okay.
I feel more, drawn to jazz singing. Therefore, when I got the opportunity, I decided to go jazz singing.
Right.
But so it depends. The bureaucracy depends on the organization, on the efficiency. I must say that the director in Milan, who is a woman, she is, I call her Wonder Woman because she's so efficient and really, really easy, very easy, very easy, very essential. So there are no papers more overdue. Does it make sense? No overdue papers.
You mean like unnecessary papers?
Yes, exactly.
Is that what you mean? Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
No unnecessary papers.
Yeah. Yeah. I see. Yeah, that's good. Yeah. Yep. Yep. That, and also when I was teaching, for instance, at Cal State LA, I enjoyed it a lot. I was there, I think, 7 years, but in the last few years, the head of the vocal department, well, one thing I enjoyed about the vocal department was that it was part classical and part jazz. I don't think really there was pop, except pop, it was probably more about writing. But we would have these classes together, these clinics together. So, and it was very interesting to me that all the teachers saw the same thing in the students, whether they were classical or jazz. And we just went about teaching in a different way. But I think it was fascinating for the students and for the teachers. But then at the end, the head of the department wanted me to, bring students in who wanted to study with me, but for the first 2 years they couldn't study any jazz. They had to study all classical. And I wasn't really into that. It was like of course I didn't mind if they studied classical singing and music, whatever, but also that they should study the jazz. Why not? But she wasn't for that. And in the end, that was why I left. It was like, well, why do that? I could have private students myself and have them study classical with somebody else or whatever, So
yeah, regarding this, I was very lucky that when I quit the tours and I decided to calm down, stop touring around.
yes.
I was offered a job in a conservatory in Modena for opera singers in a course. It was a biennium for opera singers by Luciano Pavarotti and Mirella Freni and Raina Kabaivanska, like top opera international stars.
Yes.
And because Pavarotti started out the Pavarotti International, which was like a big venue held in Modena, where invited Bono or invited Sting or invited Celine Dion, and he was doing duets with all these artists.
Yeah.
He also wanted his students to have a different frame of mind and to relate to another way of making music. And so I started working with opera singers. And because I had been studying opera, I knew that what scares them is, in Italian we say spostare la voce, to change the placement, to change the way the voice is placed. And I was very aware of that, and I was very careful. I didn't want to deal with the sound, with the tone quality, because I knew that they needed it for what they had to, for their theater performance. But we were working musically, like, working more on the upbeat or doing syncopated stuff or doing weird notes, like flat nines. And it was funny. It was funny. And it wasn't funny. Sorry. It was fun. I wanted to say it was fun. I had really a great time. Very, very satisfied. I think one of them also sang a song by Madonna, and it was great. So I think little by little the gap is coming together the way I see it. At least in Italy, if I look back and I think about my path, my music education path, I had to migrate. I had to go to London. In Italy, you could only, if you study at the conservatory, you had to study classical singing. There was no other way. And now it's possible to do it. And so I think little by little, there are a lot of musicians who are hybrids. They are wonderful classical musicians, plus they also do the improvisation. They have improvisation knowledge. I remember last time I saw Lee Konitz here in Italy. He was doing the Bologna Jazz Festival. He was in his 90, actually I think he was 90. And he had a wonderful piano player from New York, whose name I don't remember, but he was a wonderful, with very strong classical basics, and he was a great improviser as well. So why not have, both? Why not have the two? If one can afford. Vocally, I think it's very difficult vocally.
Yeah.
You have the mentality, but the sound of the voice, I don't think if you are an opera singer, you cannot be a MIDI opera singer. You put a little MIDI in and then you take it out and you become something else, another kind of singer. I don't think, because we're dealing with muscle memory, you know. And if you have to be spontaneous, you have to be trained in doing that specific thing. But your mentality can be wide. You can make variations. You can learn how to move a phrase, anticipate a phrase, change the rhythms, and have have more freedom.
Well, you're reminding me of this particular bass player in San Diego named Mark Dresser. He's a fantastic player, yeah. But he does projects, and actually there's another guy, a trombone player, Joey Sellers, who lives in Orange County. He also has kind of a foot in both classical and jazz, and he does. I think both of them have used singers they're classical singers, but their sense of improvisation is very much forefront. But of course, isn't there a genre called new music in classical that is improvisatory?
I'm not sure about that.
I'm pretty sure there is. I think from my days at Cal State that I was introduced to that. So the music, it's not that the sound is particularly jazz. The sound is classical, but it's improvisatory and adventurous. It's
You mean atonal, like in roulette?
Well, they call
the club called Roulette in New York.
No, I don't. But they called it new music, and they were the harmonies. There was so much tension in the harmonies.
Yeah, like atonal.
It's basically it. Yeah, yeah. So that was very interesting to me because I didn't know about it at all when I found out about it, that classical could actually have that genre. And then I've heard, as I said, I've heard both Mark Dresser and Joey Sellers with wonderful recordings. I'll have to share them with you. I'm going to write that down because
please do.
Yeah, thanks. You'll really like it. It's Joey Sellers and Mark Dresser. Yeah, you'll love that. I mean, they do what's called avant-garde in jazz, but I think involving the classical is just so interesting. Yeah.
Oh, yes, it is.
Yeah. So, and then, so are you still doing on your own? Are you still creating workshops? And I'm assuming you have private students as well.
Oh, no, I don't have time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, no, I don't have time these days. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, just enough the working for the conservatory is it's hard work. It's lots of work. Plus now I will have to travel less, but if my friend Michela Lombardi is still on, I mean, for 2 years we were colleagues in Monopoly and we were flying twice a month I was flying from Bologna and I'm kind of, I'm not so young anymore. So
really?
It takes time to rest and to, what?
We're growing older?
Yeah.
Jay Clayton is coming here on her 80th birthday West Coast tour.
Wow,
so
wonderful.
She's actually coming next week, yeah. And of course, Sheila's, I think, 92 or 93, 92, I think. Sheila George.
How old is she?
92.
Really? Serious?
Yes, and I just saw her on a concert like last week with Rosanna Vitro had invited her to do a concert, and she sounded amazing. She sang, it was a dedication to birds, so she sang, one of those vocalises with lyrics, but she also scatted and just so friggin' good,
Oh, wow.
And
And
totally adorable too.
what about Sheila Jordan?
That's what I'm talking about,
Oh,
Sheila.
you were talking about Sheila Jordan. Okay, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I
Oh,
mean,
she's
she was,
wonderful.
well, the whole project was a dedication to Bird. And she had a few different guests on, a student of hers. This is, now I'm talking about Rosanna, but she had a student of hers who was really good, a guy whose name I don't remember. But he's been traveling around Europe, I think, a lot. And then she had Marion Cowings on, who was kind
Oh,
of out of
Marian.
that. Yeah. And then Sheila, and Sheila was, first of all, she looked adorable. She doesn't look like 92. Part of the reason is because she has dark hair still, you know.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
she looks great. And then she just sounded wonderful.
yeah. She is a evergreen, evergreen. She doesn't age.
Evergreen. So
Yeah.
true.
She's a, I fell in love with her character, but when I heard her the first time in duo with Harvey Schwartz at the
Yes.
bass clef in
Yes.
London. Have you been to the bass clef by Peter Ind in London? And you know, I didn't know of her, so I was shocked. I was fascinated. And then I went to meet her after the concert, and she was, such a dear lady, such a sweet lady.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's really great. I know there's kind of a sometimes I tell people about this and I don't know if they really get it. Oh, hi Judy Lorick. Hello. But you know, it's kind of a let's say a tribe of singers that, you know, where the queens are like Norma and Jay and Sheila and Nancy King and, you know,
Oh, Nancy King.
those are the queens, and we're all the
Yes.
princesses, you know, or princes, right?
Yeah. Well, you are the princess. I am a bit lower. Make it lower.
I don't know about that. So Luna would like to know, what is your favorite, most meaningful project you've released so far? And also, thanks, Luna. Also, what's your favorite tour memory up to date? Thank you for helping me out here.
Well, so far, I think about talking about identity. I think I recognize myself a lot in this project, in this latest project, because it's my own native language. So it has to do with identity also because I wasn't only an interpreter, but I've been dealing with the lyrics. I've been
Yes.
choosing a word instead of another, you know, I've been combining them. So I was involved also as a lyricist, basically. In the past, I love what I did with Paolo Fresu. That was a long time ago, 1998.
Yes.
That was I was already going, you know, in an ethnic path.
Yeah.
Because I was, in that CD that was called Radici Iberiche.
Uh-huh.
I studied a little bit of this Cuban Santeria,
Uh-huh.
and which, by the way, is sang in Yoruba language, which is an African language by Nigeria. Yoruba, I think, is spoken in Nigeria.
Uh-huh.
And so, yeah, that CD I enjoyed doing because it was a way to travel with music. I was traveling with music and I was learning a lot. You know, I studied the Santeria. I studied not only the music, but I was like an anthropologist. I can't hear you now. What happened?
That's okay. I'm here. Thank you.
Okay.
Piece of paper.
Okay.
TV set in the kitchen.
Okay, thank you, hon. Yeah. I wonder if we could hear a little bit of that. I don't know if if there's licensing issues or if you can even find it or I can find it.
Oh, that? Oh, yes, probably, yes. Just a sec. Let me give you a link.
Okay, great.
Okay. Okay, just a sec. Where do I copy the link? On the chat?
Okay.
Okay. See if it works.
All right. I think it did. Let's see. Yep. Boy, that is gorgeous.
It was a composition by my friend Jeff Warren, a wonderful flute player and soprano sax player and composer who moved to Italy. So now it's basically a little bit British, still a little bit British, but mostly Italian. Naturalized Italian, as you would say.
My friend Roland said he said it sounds almost Mideastern, but also Moorish, like the Moorish occupation of the Iberian Peninsula. Really, that was really beautiful. That just curious, that wasn't a picture of like your mother, was it?
No, the picture was my Luna's grandmother.
So your mother's mother, or
no, her father's mother.
Oh, she was beautiful.
And the mother of her father. So you say grandmother, yes.
Oh, great! We say great grandmother.
Great grandmother. Sorry, great grandmother.
Yeah.
Was Andalusa, from Andalusia, so it's a Spanish dress, traditional dress.
She was beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Boy, yeah, that was beautiful. So that was that again, was that a CD or was that just a one song project or?
No, it was a CD that came out of, actually that song was performed live. And you can tell that because I wasn't very relaxed.
I don't hear that.
No,
that's something you hear, but we don't probably hear that.
I could have been more relaxed. Let me put it this way. But yeah, it was a project that we recorded live in a couple of festivals in the mid of the 90s with Paolo Fresu on flugel. And Jeff, and it was basically dedicated to the Iberian region, and but very widely, because then we went to Cuba, and as I told you, I did research with Cuban Orisha, and it was great. I really enjoyed doing this. So even though back then it wasn't very easy to look for information, it wasn't very easy at all. I mean, there was no internet. Now you can basically find anything, but back then it was really, really hard. So I was lucky. I found a Cuban friend, and she had been studying, the Orishas, the Cuban Orisha at the university, and she gave me a Spanish book, and she said, okay, this is it. So I had to go and search and then choose, and it was amazing.
That's great. Well, there was another question by Luna, which is a question that I'd like to know as well. About your tour. What's your favorite tour memory up to date?
My favorite tour memory. Oh, well, I have good memories of every tour, but I have maybe if you want, I have a funny memory.
Okay.
Very funny memory, actually, that could have been tragic. But thank God we managed that. We did, that was a long time ago. I as a soloist, I was part of a choir. There was a choir, and we were performing Kenny Wheeler's tunes. Also, we did everybody's song but my own, and in a choir version. And I was the lead voice. And we went to Geneva, to the AMR Jazz Festival. And there was a very, very young Stefano Bollani on piano. I think he was 16 back then. maybe I'm pretty sure you know about Stefano Bollani as well, like top Italian jazz pianist, and is
I'm
really a
sorry to say
marvelous
I do
guy.
not know, actually.
Oh, okay,
Excuse me for
I write his name here so that we can
okay.
share information. So Stefano Bollani was, now he's, you know, he's a grown-up man, but
Yeah.
back then he was in his teens. He must have been 15 or 16 years old. He was already very, very good, and he came on tour with us. And then after the gig, we went to the hotel, we got paid, and the leader forgot, well, basically the leader, she got paid, and she agreed to pay us while we were on the train on our way back to Italy.
Uh-huh.
And then once we were already in Lugano, that means probably 2 or 3 hours away from Geneva, she found out that she had left the money in the drawer in the hotel.
Oh.
Okay.
Uh-oh.
And so as soon as the train arrived in Milan, I jumped down, and there were all the phone machines, you know, and I called my friend. I had a friend, just one person in Geneva, and I prayed that she went to the hotel to see if the cleaning ladies had not yet come, which in fact they hadn't.
Oh.
So, you know, she found the money, and she basically, you know, she sent a check basically to Italy.
Wow.
That was a funny, really funny experience that could have ended very badly. Well, we would have been working for free basically.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that's, you know, I mean, like we don't work for free now. that was a little more dramatic.
That was a bit over, yeah. Also because there were lots of people. There were maybe 15 people involved. So
yeah,
it was a big group.
So it's a big group and a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you let's see, how do you prepare for your performances or recordings now? Do you practice daily, or do you find that you need to practice daily, or do you practice a few days before?
I would need to practice daily if I were good enough. But unfortunately, when I travel for the conservatory, the whole days, I cannot. It's impossible, because after you've been traveling and you've been teaching for 7 hours, to be honest, I feel I don't want to use my vocal cords. Just want to rest.
Yeah.
I think in order to practice and to sing, you have to be in good shape.
Yeah.
And you have to be fresh. Yeah.
Yes.
You cannot afford to be tired. I don't. I mean, physically, I cannot work when I'm tired. No.
Yeah.
Maybe if you play the piano, maybe your hands will get, you know, if you're tired, you will get tendinitis.
Yes.
But to sing, it's mind and body. It's mind and body. And I also, may I say, I remember talking once with Sheila, and she told me that she never, you know, when she was young, at the beginning of her career, she never wanted to teach. And she found, I remember she told me that she had found a part-time job for a lawyer, you know, as a secretary.
Yeah.
Okay. Because, and I can understand, I can relate to what she told me then, because that way she would go on a gig and she would be totally new, fresh, because she hadn't been using a voice to teach. I find it a little bit hard to use your voice to teach and then to click one button and to go and be an artist. I think maybe some people can do it. I personally cannot do it. I'm not good at it, because maybe when I teach, I feel that I'm using a lot my rational side of the brain. No, does it make sense?
Yeah.
And then when I have to express myself, I'm more on the emotional side, or more in the irrational side, or if I have to improvise, I have to use my imagination. But maybe sometimes I think I can use my imagination 5% when I teach. That's not much, no, is it?
No.
Yeah, so I think teaching a lot is, yeah, I'm not very good at doing both. So that's why I'm not teaching these days, and I'm, concentrating on the performance, and it's a luxury. It's really a luxury.
Yeah.
To try to get my chops back together.
Yeah. Yeah. The endless challenge. So endless. Yeah. Have you ever considered I ask this because someone actually told me this the other day that they did, but have you ever thought about giving up singing?
Nah, I don't know. It's like being in a hole.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you are at the bottom.
Yeah.
And once you look up, you cannot go back anymore. I mean, you cannot climb.
Right. Even if you're way down below, you still have to look up. I was talking to a pianist named Kei Akagi who played with Al Di Meola and Miles Davis and Stanley Turrentine. He was on a gig he's a brilliant player. He was on a gig with Stanley, and he went back to the hotel room and looked at himself in the mirror and just said, "You have nothing more to say." And he was almost all ready to go back. I mean, to go home, like at that moment. And he just said, "Well, I couldn't leave Stanley. I realized I couldn't leave Stanley in a lurch." And he said, and then the next day it was better. But that just made me laugh. It's just like, maybe, I mean, there's different reasons, of course, that one would imagine giving up. One would be that your chops aren't happening, and one would be that you have no more creativity left, or maybe you're on kind of a crooked path, regarding your creativity and your road ahead of you. So anyway, that was fresh in my mind from last week. I just wondered if you ever had thought about that.
Quitting, no. I was thinking about, so many teachers who teach in Italian conservatories are not stop their performing career, especially in the classical field. I can understand that, because it's like, okay, you've reached a position, and then you start asking yourself, why do I have to struggle to get the musicians to have a rehearsal? Why do I have to struggle because I ordered a piano C7, and now the people, the shop is sending a C3? All this kind of, why do I have to bother about this? There's a lot of things that make the music performing very difficult.
Yeah.
Because there are all kind of issues happening, and okay. Then, when you are on stage, and when you get that adrenaline, and when you feel like you want to give something to the audience, and also by doing this, you also you took the chance to grow, to see how you were born, how you changed. Like in the song that we listened before, I was mostly using my high register,
Yeah.
which I don't use in the last CD. I'm using her earthly register, bone and stones and earth.
Yeah.
While before I was, sky and butterflies.
Yeah.
So it's nice, and I think this is, satisfying.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe this is a good time to look at the black and white one that you,
A satirical one.
yeah.
So this is, it's called Cambalace, La Fiera delle Pulci by Enrique Santos di Sepolo.
Okay.
Che il mondo sia e sarà una porcheria, già si sa, nel 506 o nel 2003, che sempre ci siano stati ladri, truffatori e rei, delizie e asperità, valori e falsi dei, ma che il secolo XX sia un bancale di malvagità insolenti, chi lo può negare? Viviamo impantanati in una mischia, nella stessa melma, tutti quanti noi. Oggi è diventato uguale essere giusto o traditore, ignorante, saggio, ladro, generoso, truffatore. È tutto uguale, stesso valore, vale lo stesso un asino di un gran professore. Nessun concorso, nessun bocciato, gli immorali ci han già superato. Se si loda l'impostura o si cede all'ambizione, è lo stesso essere prete, clandestino, re di spade, faccia tosto, fannullone. Che mancanza di rispetto, quale attacco alla ragione. Chiunque è un gran signore, chiunque è un ladrone, insieme al truffatore trovi il santo ed il lacchè. Giovanni e Salomè, seduti ad un caffè, e come una vetrina alla fiera delle pulci si mischia la vita, è ferita dalla staffa di un bidet. Vedi la Bibbia piangere e non sai perché. Questo secolo è un pasticcio problematico e febbrile. Chi non piange qui non succhia, e chi non ruba è solo un vile. Forza su vai, avanti dai, tanto all'inferno c'è posto per noi. Non ci pensare, siediti su, oggi l'onore non importa più, è lo stesso chi fatica, notte di come non mai, di chi invece sfrutta gli altri, di chi uccide, chi guarisce o chi va cercando guai.
I don't know what it said, but I liked it.
Yeah, it's a satirical lyrics of society.
Yes.
As I told you before, it's dealing with ethical contents.
Oh, yes.
That nowadays everything is, everything gets mixed up. There's not much meritocracy, and you find that you get on pretty well if you steal, and if you try and be honest, then you're not doing so well, and these kind of things.
Right.
I think things that happened basically in every society, I think, because it's part of human nature.
Yeah. Yeah. Interesting. Very interesting. Yeah, that was really good. And I saw, there was a moment where I saw the pianist really be enjoying the moment, and tango is really fun. I remember coming home from gigs and for a while, I'd turn off the lights and I'd listen to Astor Piazzolla music, and it was just so great. I mean, it's so you hear the subtleties, even though the style is not. I mean, the style is something kind of obvious, right? It's run dun dun, the timing and the bravado, but it's still. I mean, there are subtleties, and it's really beautiful.
Subtleties in phrasing and
Composition.
yes, and also in the way you interpret, because you don't always do things in time. Sometimes you do rubato, and then sometimes you speed up, like a bandoneon. Time is a bandoneon. You stretch and then you squeeze.
Yeah.
Can you say time squeeze or time squash? No, time squash. Time stretch? Yes, but time squeeze, when you squeeze the time?
Yeah. Condense, maybe?
Time condensation. Okay.
Maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, it's really great. How do you think this is kind of a little bit of a vague question, but how do you think your point of view about music has changed over the years? Were you, like, for example, I don't know, if I think about that for myself, which I've never actually asked that question, so I'm just trying to think about that for myself. I mean, I know a long time ago, I think I had the same perspective, but I sang a lot more ballads, for instance. I really loved ballads. And then, I don't know, I guess with the passing of time as well, how music has been reflected over the years and changed. I guess that's how my perspective has changed as well. But can you think of how yours has changed over the years? Has it been obvious to you? Or?
Yes, because up to a certain point, I was only concentrating on the melody, only on the part of the melody. And then all of a sudden, I started being aware of the rhythm and the phrasing and the accents. And I haven't finished traveling yet, but now I'm more aware, of the instruments, what the instruments do, all kind of instruments. I think I want to go more into studying arranging and be aware of arranging. And maybe one of my dreams in the future is to conduct an orchestra or a big band. Why not?
Fantastic. Yeah, sure.
To conduct.
Yeah.
But I remember once, a long time ago, when I didn't have a clue how to arrange for harp, concert harp.
Yes.
Which has got the pedals.
Yep.
And I remember that I know that nowadays there are lots of wonderful harp players. There's also, famous jazz harp player whose name I forgot, sorry.
A woman,
yes.
Was it Dorothy something?
What?
Maybe Dorothy. The reason I say that is because there's a very well-known jazz harpist here who plays with Billy Childs, Carol Robbins, I think. And and she learned from a woman harpist who was very famous.
Oh, okay. I'll check her out afterwards.
Yeah.
But the thing was that we were doing, I wanted to sing with harp. I wanted to sing every time we say goodbye, which in a certain part has got one chord per beat. And of course, the harp player, she had to move the pedals, and each time that she was moving the pedal to change the key, the sound was terrible because it was getting muddy, and and I realized that I had to face, this kind of, issues because I didn't have, I was curious, I was ready to learn, but I didn't have enough knowledge, basically. I didn't have enough experience. I hadn't studied arranging. So now I think I'm being more aware of not only, I'm having a perspective of my you know, the melody and the relationship with all the other instruments, which I didn't have at the beginning. Oh no. At the beginning, I was just concentrated, diving into my own swimming pool. If a melody is a swimming pool, I was just diving into that and totally deaf to what's around me. Then when I started going into a little bit deeper into improvisation, I could pick up, you know, little ideas, but now it's more like knowing, being in control of the arrangement, because I want to know what the music will sound like. So changing a chord, for instance, and reharmonizing the, yeah.
Yes, reharmonization, yes.
That's really hard to say, reharmonizing for an Italian.
Well, you said it pretty good. Yeah. Yeah, that's a delicious awareness. Very beautiful. I mean, yeah, I would have to say, not from my own arranging point of view, but from just listening. I've been more aware of that in the last few years, and it's just, it's delicious. It's really great. This live concert at the Ford Theater a few weeks ago, Billy Childs had his small chamber orchestra, and Diane Reeves and another singer, you probably don't know this other singer, Moira Smiley, but
Moira Smiley.
yeah, Moira, M-O-I, Moira, R-A, Smiley. And she's kind of an Americana singer. And she was.
What do you mean by Americana singer?
Americana is of a more ethnic, organic American music, not jazz and not pop, and maybe a little
folk,
kind of, but not fully.
Country.
No, not country. It's kind of out of folk, but it's I don't know. There's like a richness to it, and it was really born in America, and anyway, it's an interesting style of music. But anyway, she's quite talented. She even went to Russia and studied the Russian singing and ethnic singing, and she actually made Billy's Appalachian. Thank you, Roland. It's called Appalachian, A-P-P.
Appalachian.
Yeah, Appalachian. And yeah, thank you. That is the music, Roland. It's Appalachian. Thank you. Anyway, Billy Childs did the Laura Nero project. Are you familiar with that?
Laura Nero? Oh.
Okay. Oh, you must hear that project. Billy Childs, I think it's called The Treasure Reimagined or something like that. Anyway, it's the Laura Nero project. And it's a gorgeous project with all these great different singers singing different songs. But Moira actually did the demos for all of the songs. And I also saw her perform the whole project with him, which was very impressive because Laura Nero's music is really rangy and challenging to sing, and then you add these arrangements for a small chamber orchestra, it's just really interesting. But anyway, it was a great evening the other night, and Diane Reeves sang, let's see, what song is that? Oh gosh, I can't remember the standard. You probably would know this standard. Oh, If You Could See Me Now.
Okay, yeah.
And he arranged it really beautifully. Yes. And he arranged it with these magnificent transpositions in the middle of it. You know, it was like, was that an imaginary transposition, kind of imaginary, or was that a real transposition? Because you almost couldn't tell if it really did move into a different key. It was so beautiful. And I went back and checked, and he did do that. But things like that now are more intriguing to me, and it sounds like that particular thing would be intriguing to you too. So
I'm a fan of the chamber of your CD, the chamber,
the jazz chamber.
The jazz chamber, yes.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, that's the arrangements, especially Bevan Manson. He arranged beautifully. All of the arrangements were good. Actually, Dory arranged 2 of them.
Yes.
And another friend, Dennis Dreeth. But Bevan is a really interesting, he's so much in classical and so much in jazz. And actually, I saw this in your, let's see, was it? Oh no, it wasn't George Russell, but I saw that you did something involving George Russell, but he was.
Oh, yeah. I performed once because he came to Bologna to do a workshop for a big band, you know, for an orchestra of students actually, and he wanted a singer, so he auditioned some, you know, singers, and he grabbed me and another singer. So, and I performed. Well, actually, I did a rap. It was no, almost a rap, but it was like a piece with lyrics by John Hendricks that I had to perform with congas, congas and boys, and it was called Manata Rico.
Wow.
Yeah, it was so funny. What was the beginning? Think you can lick it? Get to the wicket. Buy you a ticket, go. New York, New York, a town so nice they had to name it twice. I still remember this bit because I thought, wow, this is really gorgeous.
That's great. That's amazing. Wow. Well,
I still remember that. I still remember it. Wow.
Yeah, that's amazing. I love that.
Carved. It got carved in my brain. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, well, it was not.
Why were you mentioning George Russell?
Yeah, there was another big arranger composer who lived in Boston who Bevan was involved with, and it was also involved with New England Conservatory. I don't think it was George Russell. It was another huge name, but Bevan worked under him, and anyway, his sensibilities are very. You probably would love working with Bevan. Maybe when you come, we can have you work with him. He's adventurous, smart, sensitive.
Can you spell his name, Bevan?
Yes. Bevan with a B like boy, Bevan.
Yeah.
Then Manson.
Manson.
Yeah.
But it's a name that is familiar.
Well, I mean, he was on that record, so you might have recalled it. And
but was he also when you performed at the gallery? What's the name of it?
You mean the place I was booking, or something else?
No, performed in a venue where you presented.
Oh, are you talking about in Hollywood a few years ago? That small chamber group? Is that what you're talking about? I think you saw that somehow. No, he wasn't involved with that one. That one was with John Leftwich, who's a friend of mine. bass player, and he's been an MD, and he's a really good arranger too. That's a different chamber orchestra, and that's even smaller. We're actually going to do that one live again in February and record.
Oh, great.
Yeah, so, and that one has, it has a few Schofield tunes, a few Monk tunes, a few originals, and a few standards. So, and I think like a Vince Mendoza song that I did record on the Jazz Chamber, which I just love. And I wrote lyrics to that one too. So, yeah, so, oh, and a Brazilian, Brazilian song, a Pat Metheny song,
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Contemporary composers.
Yeah, yeah. So, yeah, that's going to be fun.
And you're going to record that in February?
Yeah, we're going to first do it live, just, kind of a rehearsal and a gig, and then we'll do a recording because that'll give us some reality to it,
Yeah, that's wise. That's wise. I unfortunately, when I did this CD, this tango CD, okay, I had been sang these lyrics and these songs, sorry, in Spanish for a long time, but the band, we only had 3 rehearsals and then we went into the studio.
Yeah.
So there was no live, experience. But the way I see it, I'm happy that I did because, we recorded at the beginning of February and at the end of February, there was the pandemic. So I would have never had recorded.
Yeah. I know the last few years have been obviously uniquely different. And when I think back about my CDs, there have been a few that I've had group experience with on the road or around here and then recorded, which is always really nice. But then there have been others that we just did, and it's so different. Each project is so different. And I think probably part of the most important part is the people that you pick to make the music with.
Oh yes, that makes the difference. That does make the difference, especially if it's a small ensemble, because the fact that to be able to create magic takes a kind of chemistry that I don't think can be decided or guessed prior to when it happens. So I was really happy about these musicians because there was we clicked straight away.
It was great. Obviously, you all enjoyed it. It was very obvious.
Yeah, and the fact is that we never played together. I just saw them play. I just I talked to them about my idea.
Yeah.
They thought I was a little bit crazy, but this is not something that puts me down. So
Did you at least have time for a little bit of a rehearsal?
Yeah, a couple of times. Yeah, a couple of times.
Yeah.
And then we went straight into the studio.
Yeah. Hey, Jeff Warren is here.
Jeff, my friend Jeff, yes.
He said, nice
Yes.
one, Lori.
Yes. Yeah.
Jeff.
Oh, we just
I don't know if
played
you
La
were-
Bruja, Jeff. We just played La Bruja.
I was just going to say, I don't know if you were here earlier, but we were talking about you and listening to you. And it was beautiful. We loved it.
Yeah, it was very much, you said that it had a Moresque flavor.
Yes. Beautiful. That was really quite stunning.
Jeff is a great composer and a great arranger.
Uh-huh. And apparently probably a great flautist.
Oh, yes, he is a great improviser.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, a full round musician. And he teaches flute at the Conservatory in Ferrara.
Oh,
Actually,
okay.
which is the first the first official, I don't know how to say, cattedra in English, chair. The first flute,
Oh, I see.
jazz flute chair in Italy.
Yes, yes. Well, guess what? It's been about 2 hours.
Whoa, time flies when you have fun.
I know. Well, we could talk forever, probably. So I will just tell people a little bit about who's on this week, and you can hang out with me if you want. Actually, you'll be interested in at least one person. So tomorrow, I usually do live Monday through Wednesday. This week, I have an extra guest on Friday, but tomorrow is a really great jazz singer from Chicago named Denise Times. She comes here from time to time, and she is really good. And when you hear her sing ballads, you really fall in love with her. And she's had a really interesting life, and both her parents are interesting. I can't remember right now, but she comes from interesting bones. And then Wednesday, a drummer who's done so much studio work here and been on so many things that people have just seen and heard, movies, TV, everything, Bernie Dressel. And he has a big band, Bernie Dressel Big Band. He's quite a character, and he's been here for a long, long time. And Friday, I have a special guest at 12, probably for an hour and a half instead of 2 hours, Luciana Souza.
Oh, wonderful. I love Luciana.
Now she's in that tribe I mentioned too, right?
Yeah, when was that? That's Friday.
Friday.
Okay.
Yeah, so Luciana Souza is just an amazing singer for those of you who don't know her. Yeah, she's Brazilian. She's not only a great technician, but she has so much heart that the technique almost is secondary. And yeah, I've seen her in some amazing concerts. So that's Friday. And then I'll have my usual archives. Ed Neumeister on Thursday. Do you know Ed Neumeister? He's a trombone player. He travels a lot in Europe too. He's more modern.
Okay.
Yeah, you probably love him. And then speaking of Appalachian, Saturday, this singer Evie Laden, who is a singer, composer, banjo player, and clogger. Clogger, that's dancer, with she wears clogs and
clogs. Oh, wow.
Yeah. And her husband is an amazing body percussionist. He's like one of the foremost body percussionists in the world. So kind of comes out of that, but she's super talented. And I remember I enjoyed speaking with her a lot. And then Sunday, this Armenian jazz pianist who lives here and who's brilliant. He's kind of like Bevan, Vardan of Sepian. And so that's Sunday. So anyway, it's going to be a fun week, for the show. And thank you, Lorena Fontana, for being on. And Luna, thank you for your helping. And we're
Thank you very much, Cathy, for hosting me and for the opportunity. And I want to say hi to all my friends in LA, and I hope to come back soon and see them and embrace them in person.
We will be waiting for you.
Okay.
All right, sweetheart. Thank you so much. Mwah.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye, hon.
Bye. Thanks.
Lorena Fontana. I also did want to say that this week, for those of you in LA, Friday night, November 5th, I will be performing a set and also hosting a jam session at the conference room in Playa Vista. Some of you have been there, some of you haven't. It's outdoors. It's a really beautiful, beautiful patio with little lights and a stage, and it's really quite nice. Little chilly these days, so dress warm, and also there are heaters and blankets as well. But yeah, the jam is great. The band is going to be great. Stu Elstrom piano, John Leftwich on bass, and Aron Serfati on drums. Great, great band. Ciao, Mary. And So I hope to see you guys. What else can I tell you? Next week, the week of November 8th, Jay Clayton, who we spoke of, is coming to LA for her 80th, as part of her 80th birthday West Coast tour. She's going to be going up to Seattle, performing in the Earshot Festival, and also working a little bit in Seattle. And she's dear friends with Sheila Jordan, who's 92, and they're both playing and singing a lot. And so next week, Jay Clayton is coming. She's going to do personal lessons. You can have a personal lesson with Jay on Thursday or Friday, the 11th or 12th. Saturday, we have a workshop here. We'll probably be outside at 11:30 to 2:30 here at my house, actually, in Granada Hills near Northridge. And Sunday, I'm so looking forward to this. I hope you guys, if nothing else, come to this. It's going to be her gig, her 80th birthday party gig in LA. She's playing with, this is 12 o'clock to 1:30 at Feinstein's / Vitello's. She's playing with the great pianist Bill Cunliffe, on bass John Leftwich, and the drummer we actually have to change because our choice, Chris Wabich, is out of the state helping his dad, and he actually can't get back because of the COVID stuff. So there'll be a drummer, and Kim Richmond, one of the best alto players ever. And what Jay does is both standards, and she's very well known for free music, which she actually had a loft like Sheila did in the days of Charlie Parker people, and in New York. And she was one of the originators of free music. And she had a group with Bobby McFerrin and Ursula Dudziak and I forget, Jean Lee. Yeah. So anyway, that's going to be next week. Jay Clayton's going to be in town. So I hope those of you living in LA will come to that. Otherwise, maybe I'll see you at the jam session on Friday night. And we'll definitely see you tomorrow. And my guest, Denise Times, great singer from Chicago. Thanks again to Lorena Fontana. Love you, Lorena. Thank you for being on the show.